Attendance at Harvard women's basketball games has jumped amid a nationwide rise in popularity. By courtesy of Harvard Athletic Communications. As the popularity of women's college basketball skyrockets, Harvard's own women's team has seen attendance rise to 1,054 on average for home games this season, a jump of nearly 300 from last year. This spike in attendance narrows the gap with Harvard's men's team, which saw a decrease in attendance of about 100 for an average of 1,339 attendees this season. This year also marks the first time when viewership for the women's NCAA championship game for women's basketball outpaced the men's game, with many tuning in to watch University of Iowa star Caitlin Clark play her final collegiate game against the University of Connecticut. At Harvard, former university president Claudine Gay and Massachusetts Governor Mority Healy 92 sat in the front row during a home game in January at Laviert's Pavilion. Katie Krupa 26, a sophomore on the basketball team, said she noticed the increased attention for women's basketball in her personal life. Just recently, I've had friends who are friends of mine that are outside of basketball and outside of sports, who have come up to me and said, "You know, I'm watching the Iowa-UConn game," Krupa said. Still, Krupa acknowledged the challenge of playing women's basketball before the recent boom in popularity, saying that it's hard being so obsessed with a sport when no one really understands the passion. Harmony Turner 25, a junior on the team, said that it was definitely challenging to care so much about the sport before the increase in attention. "I think women's basketball is definitely a competitive sport and it was very undervalued for many, many years," Turner said. Turner said she's noticed a marked change at Harvard women's basketball games in her time at the school from when there were sometimes home games with like 5 people in the stands. "It just seemed like yesterday it was no one in the stands, and no one really cared about basketball. And now, that's all that people talk about is women's basketball," Turner said. Ellie Stouffer 25, a junior on the basketball team, also noted the change. "Especially since my freshman year, we've definitely had bigger crowds," Stouffer said. "We've had sellouts, which is a big deal." Krupa said that the crowds for women's games at Harvard look different than those for the men's games, with younger families and fewer alumni. "It is different faces in the stands," Krupa said. "I don't see the same crowd in women's basketball as in men's. I actually sometimes notice some more enthusiastic ones in our crowd. Typically, it's newer faces, younger faces," Krupa added. Turner also noted that Ivy League basketball has generated top talent in recent years. Last week, 3 Ivy League players, including former Crimson star Mackenzie Forbes 23, were drafted into the WNBA.